Wow. I will make an argument that what we just watched this past weekend was the best week in the ELF thus far.
We doing everything they talk about. You know I'm everything a boss about. Not putting work and gotta toss them out. I'm really biting, they just barking out. I'm really riding, they just parking now. His street, what to talk about. See the big H when I'm walking out. Yeah.
Yes. Welcome to Base Coverage. Thank you all for tuning in to this quick reaction show, Week 12 in the European League of Football. We won't take up too much more of your time, but thank you for your support. Subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, like a video, share with a friend, and let's dive right into it. I think I could make an easy argument that this past week in the ELF, week 12 in the ELF, year 4 in the ELF, was the best weekend thus far in the European League of Football. You get a little bit of everything. You get some history. You get some upsets. You get overtime. You get some great performances. You get some separation as we're winding down to the nitty-gritty of the playoff run. And it's getting a little interesting. And as you can check out the scores here, again, this is a quick reaction. I'm not going to dive into every game, but I do want to cover some games that did have quite a bit of meaning to it. But first, just looking at this slate, I'm gonna go right to that Paris game. Paris, they take care of business. I believe they were a 17.5-point favorite. I didn't think they cover. I think they at least win, but they took care of business, not only putting up points, but also keeping points off the board. Obviously, that plays a role into seeding and tiebreaker. So they take care of Cologne. Cologne, I believe, is officially eliminated. At this point. Next game, the most embarrassing game in the ELF. I've kind of been defending them, saying that these blowouts happen across the league. I can't defend a 90-point blowout. Barcelona, honestly, you might as well just punt on the season in regards to not even showing up. Why even waste your time? Why even waste the travel? Why even waste the money? Just take an L for the season. That would be more respectable than going out there and just giving up 90 points. All right. Munich, they do what they got to do. Munich, in no way, shape, or form, nobody, when if it comes to point differential, nobody's catching Munich. I believe this game, in a weird way, if they win next week, week 13, almost solidifies them to get a playoff run. Because again, if it comes to a tiebreaker, you're not competing with Munich in regards to the point differential. I mean, they basically went up by 2 games in almost this 90-0 blowout here. So Munich, they win next week. They're in the playoffs. I will go on record and I will say that. Another game that was close. This game would have been great if these two teams went the direction we thought they were going, and that's the Russell Panthers and the Berlin Thunder. Close game, nonetheless. Both teams play hard. Went into overtime. Thunder obviously, pull it out 36-34. It's sad the direction that these two teams didn't live up to expectations, because this game would have been even crazier than what it was. And then lastly, Fine versus Hamburg. Again, 51-2. Jadrian 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions though. Glenn, a little more of a light work week. I only think he had 13 carries. I think as you see these top teams get towards the tail end of the season, if they think they have the game or the win in hand, they might pull back a little bit. I think that's kind of like what happened here. Hamburg, again, it is what it is at this point. It is what it is. Almost speechless. All right. There's 3 games I want to dive into, and obviously those are the 3 games that we hadn't covered. But the first one, we got a little history. We got a little history being made between Prague getting their first win in the European League of Football. Shout out to the Prague Lions. They played hard. It was a great performance all around in regards to 9-6, similar to that 6-3 Raiders surge a year or 2 ago. They did what they had to do. Unfortunately, the throws coming off a bye at home. You think they get the win? They gave up this type of a loss to the Lions. But shout out to the Lions. I don't want to take anything from them. It was hard. It was hard fought. Shout out to Dan Dish, D coordinator last year, was there through everything that went happen. Head coach now. You got your first win. Hopefully this is something that they could build off. I would personally love if Prague and Thronos could take a huge step going into next year in the ELF, win a couple more games, and just start trending in that direction. Because I think, there's parity in the middle. Obviously, there's parity up top. but there's a huge gap difference between that middle and the bottom. So we could get those middle teams we get those bottom teams like the Prague, the Helvetics, the Enthroners, the Barcelonas, Milans. We get those teams to at least get 2 games better heading into next year. I believe that's going to create a better product. So we'll say, but shout out to the Prague Lions. They saw history. I didn't think they were going to get it done. They proved me wrong, and Throners get the win. Next game I want to dive into. Hey, I called this a trap game from the beginning. I said this is a trap game for Madrid. You don't sleep on Frankfurt trying to get to Paris next week. Again, don't sleep on Frankfurt trying to get to Paris next week. I thought, this was a trap game, especially how Frankfurt came off that loss against Cologne, giving up a 21-point lead. It's weird to say, but this Frankfurt team at this point in the season might be better than the Frankfurt in the beginning of the season, who we thought they were. Matt McKay is playing pretty well. Things seem to be clicking. There's a little bit more continuity and chemistry. Paul Leinhart, 2 touchdowns. Shout out to him. Good complimentary receiver to Kaya and Castle, who even threw a touchdown to McKay. Madrid, it's weird because Madrid goes on these runs where, you start to think, all right, they figured it out. They got it. They can win these games. And then, they let an egg go like this. So, the question for Madrid is, obviously you have Paris, which is huge playoff implications on the line next week. You lose to Paris, you're basically done. And then I forgot who they had at the end of the season. But your playoffs start next week. And I know there's been questions about Duncan. Can he play in big games? Dwayne Obi hasn't been back. At least I thought he was. I know he's battling injuries. Molina's a good complimentary back. But Madrid has to find a way in these big games that mean something going forward, because everything means something going forward. They got to figure out a way how to pull through. They beat the Fire, which was great. All right. But keep in mind, that was Chris Helbig who got hurt, and then they brought in the Willie Patterson. Right. So we'll see what happens. Frankfurt gets the win. These are the type of games I like to see from the teams that aren't even competing for playoff spots. They're still competing. I even said this game reminds me of year 2 when the Vienna Vikings went to Frankfurt and they got upset by the Galaxy. It was an all-black game, I believe. So Frankfurt's a hard place to play. Shout out to that home atmosphere. They get the win in a very important game and play a little spoiler, and make things a little interesting for the Bravos. And then this happened. Man, did it happen. Hey, listen, I went on record and I said the Raiders had surprised me. They're better than I thought. Kudos to them. Credit to them, that team, that organization, especially with everything that happened over the years, quarterback, coaches, ownership. The Raiders were a team that I was very impressed with, but I did not pick them to beat the Surge. I thought the Surge were a team that was playing bored, they had clinched the playoffs. They didn't make, they didn't necessarily look expiring against other type of opponents, similar to like the Raiders and other opponents that they were playing this late in the season. And it looked like a team that was playing bored. But the Raiders went to Stuttgart and pulled off the upset. Let me repeat that. The Raiders went to Stuttgart and pulled off the upset. Now, at this point in the season, a lot of things. One, let me talk about the Raiders. The Raiders are the most dangerous wild card team heading into the playoffs. I'll repeat that. The Raiders are the most dangerous wild card team heading into the playoffs. Defense travels, even though putting up 42 points won't get it done, but defense travels, but also the run game travels when you get to the postseason. And you need to have an established run game. And they pulled off zones, outside zones, sweep, power. They pulled off a little bit of everything. And Stuttgart had no answer. This was Munich last year with Stuttgart when they didn't have an answer for the run game, and Munich went to Stuttgart and kind of was out physical the Surge then, and then the Surge woke up. So maybe this game wakes the Surge up at a great point for the playoffs, refocuses them, and maybe they make another championship run. But I will say this: the Raiders are the most dangerous team heading into the postseason. You know, N'Kosi Perry, kudos to him. Kudos to Bonatti, Marco Schneider, Adrian Plaskummer, Philip Hahn. You know, those guys balled out. Philip Hahn made a couple great catches in this game. I wouldn't want to play the Raiders right now. And I won't give his name out, but I spoke to someone last week and I asked him, Raiders surge, something to be excited for, or should we just, look towards the playoff? And we were on the same page. We were like, surge should take care of business. This guy's close to the organization. I'm not going to reveal your identity. You're my guy. But we were proven wrong. So the Raiders on a whiteout go to Stuttgart and beat the Surge. So that was a great win. We love to see great wins. On the other side of that, the Surge. This was a bad time to lose a game. But this is why. Not just because it's the Raiders, who always give the Surge issues. And I think we overlook this game. Everyone talks about rivalries and games to look forward to. No one mentions the Raiders Surge. And I'm not going to consider this a rivalry. I think we throw that term around too loosely. But this game's always been close. Especially since Jordan Newman's got to the Surge. This game versus the Raiders has always been close. So this is always a game to keep an eye on. But the reason why the Surge pick a bad time to lose is because as of now, you were battling with Vienna for that 1 or 2 seed in the playoffs. All right, now obviously, home field advantage in the first round bye. You were battling with Vienna record-wise. One of you two were the guy that threw the one out. And obviously it was with points. Now you're battling with Ryan to even get a first round bye. And again, we gotta see how everything plays out. But the Surge and the Fire are now kind of cat and mousing to get that second seed, which is great for the league coming down the stretch, because now you got drama at the top, but now drama's in the back too with Paris, Munich, Raiders all getting big wins, and Madrid losing. They still got to play each other. Madrid still has to play Paris. Raiders still have to play Munich, which is going to create more drama, which we love. I love chaos. But now we got to keep an eye on Surge Fire as well. So this is going to be the most intense playoff run these last 2 weeks of the season. I'm excited, and I am here for it. But thank you all for tuning in. Subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, like a video, share with a friend. This is the Athletes Forum Podcast, talking ELF ball. I'm ready to dive into Week 13, and we got some great games to look forward to. So I'm definitely excited to tune in. But thank you guys all for checking me out.